We are on the final week of the 2023 IndyCar season. This week's going to be a little different because my internet is not good and I have to record upstairs instead of downstairs in my studio. So you might hear my 1-year-old son or my dog or 3 of my cats. And for that, I do apologize. But we're trying to make it work the best we can. We've crowned the 2023 IndyCar champion. We have news out the wazoo. Driver changes, team changes. I survived Vegas for 3 days, so that's always good. And I'm looking forward to getting an update from the guys because I was kind of disconnected from the real world for the entirety of Labor Day weekend. So with all that being said, it's going to be kind of up to you guys, and I'm excited to hear about it. So, Connor, with all that being said, how we doing, brother?
Well, Joey, I'm very, very curious to see how Vegas went for you, honestly, because I remember we gave Ben some tips on Las Vegas recently. I wonder if you followed those tips. And yeah, life is good. You know, IndyCar season is coming to the end. I'm actually very curious. I feel like we made predictions at the beginning of this season. We're gonna have to go back after this weekend to see how we all did on our season predictions. We'll have to use producer Ben's big brain for that and his research skills. But yeah, life is good. I'm bringing a race suit to Laguna Seca just in case this weekend. You never know what'll happen. But yeah, we saw a Portland race that was interesting, I guess you could say, minus the fact that Alex Palou just made everyone look silly yet again. And the Ganassi Racing Team did the same thing. So, yeah, there's been a lot that's gone on. New driver signings. We've got all kinds of news, throughout the paddock. Chats of, even now new TV deal chats have already started, I saw on the Twitter sphere. So, lots going on. Lots happening in the world right now.
I do got to say that it was awesome because I was in Vegas on Sunday night and I was going back and forth. We had a pool in the backyard and a hot tub. I was going back and forth from there to inside to grab another beverage and don't even know what time. I think it was probably 11 p.m. Vegas time. So that means it was 1 a.m. Eastern time, what have you. And I look on the TV screen, the big TV screen there in the Airbnb. It's on Sports Center. And Alex Palou is sitting there split screen talking to one of the sports anchors. I can't remember who it was. But I took a photo of it because I was just like, well, this is great. I mean, the Palou, the IndyCar champion on Sports Center, getting the full segment. They were breaking down, he's won 2 out of the last 3, yada, yada, yada. I said, this is fantastic. I did not expect to see this. I almost thought I was in a Vegas haze and I was seeing things for a second, but it was really great.
No, I completely agree. I got a text as well from an unnamed IndyCar driver at a bar late at night saying, does this mean we've made it? Because Alex Palou is finally on Sports Center late at night. And it was like one TV at this bar was showing a rerun of the F1 race. And then one was showing Alex Palou on Sports Center. And it was like, I mean, motorsport is back. Like, motorsport is fully back. We must not have enough NFL talk to discuss late at night because the season is finally coming up. But yeah, I mean, that was great to see. And even someone also sent, this is kind of the research that we all do in the industry. Like, there are plenty of group chats going around where it's like, if you see IndyCar news anywhere, we even made the ESPN website. It was, 6 links down. But it was there. There's a link to Alex Palou claiming, another championship. But pretty cool. So I would say overall, good for us. IndyCar is like I said, I think I said it either the last show or the show before, but this is definitely the most attention I've seen IndyCar get in my era of IndyCar racing, I would say. Other than the 100th running of the 500, that was a big one. That was my rookie year in IndyCar, but that was for one race. I would say overall, the viewership, the attention worldwide, everything's looking, stronger, which is great.
Yeah, man, no doubt. It was super, super exciting and cool and a proud moment. Like I said, I snapped a photo of it. You know, my buddies who aren't as big of IndyCar fans, for now, we're working on them still, but they're
Absolutely.
kind of just like, what are you doing? As I'm taking like a screen recording of this, I'm holding their beers to take them out to the backyard. But I said I just had to because it was awesome. But with that even being said, with Alex wrapping up the championship and in the way that he did, I feel like that's not even the biggest story that came out of the weekend regarding Alex Palou, with what was said about how it's somehow, some way, all coming back to him being in the 10 ride for Chip Ganassi when the dust settles.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was always going to be the case if he couldn't get an F1 ride. I was chatting to Alex a little bit at the gym last week, and he realizes he's in the best possible IndyCar situation. The guy completely deserves to be in F1. I mean, there's no question about it. But I don't think there's an opportunity right now for him. So, I do hope he gets that chance because he's young enough to get there. I think we've talked about that before. But yeah, now he just kind of gets to go and chill in Laguna Seca. Probably going to win that race by 10 seconds. But you never know. I mean, the new surface at Laguna Seca might change things up a little bit. All the teams get an additional day of running. I believe they actually start running tomorrow. There's a bit of a pre-event test day, which is very rare and very exciting. So for the rookies and the young guys, especially like a guy like Tom Blomqvist, he's going to really appreciate that extra day of running. So we'll see what Alex Palou does with it. I'm hoping he just kind of has a great weekend overall. Maybe he's just laughing and playing around and laughing and playing around. Alex Palou is still going to probably win by a mile. So who knows what's going to happen, but it should be an exciting race. The new surface definitely brings a lot more pace, a lot more speed to Laguna Seca track and traffic. Like we saw in Portland, everyone hated everyone in qualifying because of traffic. There were, Lundgaard was so fast in practice, didn't get a lap in qualifying. Grosjean looked like he wanted to punch through a fence after qualifying because he was, upset with traffic and strategy, and then he's out on lap one of the race. I mean, rough stretch for the fiery Phoenix, Roman Grosjean, friend of the show. But yeah, interesting overall. I know Portland might not have been on your top list of things to do while you were in Vegas, but I was also racing myself during the Portland race, so I didn't get to see a ton of it. But I did watch the 30-minute extended highlight video last night as well on YouTube.
Yeah, hey, call it what it is. I can't say that it was. It's just like they say in The Hangover, like you lose track of time out there with the time change. The time change and then all the festivities that are going on, you kind of, even when you look at your phone, you don't even really know what time it is because it's like, all right, this isn't my time, it's their time. I have no idea. So it's kind of one of those, I was at the pool party. It was checking the results of the race. Saw Graham got another pole for himself. Pretty wild. I mean, it's just like, I know we talked about it after, the GP in Indy. But just the second half that he has had with putting up two poles, pretty interesting stuff there. Pretty nice rebound continuing here to finish off the season for old Graham. Maybe 2024 will be taking this momentum that he's kind of riding into the sunset here of 2023, take down to 2024 and get his first win in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is impressive. And having been in that Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan team now, like to see kind of how much they're putting into it and the people that they have there, it's pretty cool to see, honestly. And Graham, I mean, if you would have said to people at the beginning of the year, could you see Graham Rahal getting 2 poles this year? I don't think a lot of people would have been on that boat. So it's pretty cool. And overall, I mean, consider what Lundgaard has done as well. He's got a pole. He's got a win. And I think Graham is going to be very upset about this Portland race for a long time, and Lundgaard as well, because, again, the strategy didn't play out. And that's just what's so difficult about these IndyCar races sometimes. Several folks got quite lucky with the way that strategy played out. Several folks took advantage of several different situations that played out. You had the situation where they didn't call the yellow, so Rosenquist could pit, basically guaranteeing him a spot on the podium. That was something that looking at it there, I mean, Scott Dixon, what I find most interesting is Scott Dixon, I think, hates the IndyCar stewards. I think he is the most vocal person about what they are doing and the decisions that they are making. Now, look, if I said anything, no one really takes my opinion seriously. If even several other drivers said anything about decisions that are made, probably not taken as seriously. But if Scott Dixon is that voicey, that boisterous over the fact that, hey, we got to make decisions on people blocking, wrecking each other, or yellow flags are called, because Canapino was in a dangerous place there too. And I had this in my notes to talk about, but I think there needs to be some more consistency, especially, the yellow thing is a different situation. And they've talked about that before, and I don't want to throw them under the bus for that, because they've talked about how they don't want to, call a yellow immediately, and then some people get even more lucky. But this is IndyCar racing. There's going to be yellows, and you got to call them for safety. Like, that's just how it works. So it's interesting to see how vocal Scott Dixon is about that.
Like, what's the process? What would the process be for improvement on that? Or is that just come down to like end of season review, kind of like, in the NFL or the NBA, where they get like the officiating report, the final 2-minute report, and it says, oh, after looking at this, the referee missed this call. This was not the right call. Like, what's that process?
Well, Kyle Novak and Max Pappas, Ari Leindijk, like they always are walking around talking to us as the drivers. And so, I got to give them credit for listening to us. I would say there's been several drivers meetings where some of the information that we say to them, they actively, respond to it and say, hey, if you guys want to do it that way, we'll do it that way. You know what I mean? But I think sometimes drivers definitely need that stern leader that says, you know what, I'm not going to deal with your you guys' crap, but we're going to go with this because this is in the rule book. But there are some things that there are rules about contact. There are rules about blocking. There are rules about certain things. Alex Palou not getting a penalty for blocking, but Kyle Kirkwood getting a penalty for blocking. Is that, how does that work? You know what I mean? Like, I would love to see there are several situations. I got a penalty last year for blocking Grosjean, and Grosjean came up to me after the race. He's like, you didn't block me. I was like, I know. But then there's some video, and the stewards are like, well, you see, you did this. And that's like, yes, but that's not like, there's way worse stuff that happens. So it has to be consistent if you're going to even make calls like that, because realistically, no matter who gets penalized, it sucks, right? You saw Colton Herta with a speeding penalty. That's just black and white. But having a penalty that's either sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, then it just makes you question everything that you're doing. So I will give the stewards credit, and they will try to they will try to listen to us and say, hey, if something needs to be changed, let's talk about it. But there's definitely a lot this year that I hope is looked at over the offseason and said, hey, you know what? If we are a championship that follows rules, if we are a championship that doesn't necessarily, we don't follow the same mantra as NASCAR, right? Like NASCAR, there are no rules, right? Like if you wreck someone intentionally, and you talk about it on a podcast, which we've heard about before, they take away points, right? But they're not taking away anything in the middle of the race. They're not penalizing anyone really, and they just kind of leave it to the drivers to battle it out. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I do personally think that something needs to be done to either reinforce the rules or make sure all the drivers are aware that, hey, there are rules.
Yeah, because it's been a year-long thing. I mean, I remember as far as going back to Long Beach in April,
Oh,
when he had the Scott Dixon incident. You know, it really kind
and
of
that's what
fired things
started
up.
getting Scott so mad. Like
Right.
that's why he is still angry, because it's completely deservedly so.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you know, it's just looking like you said about this Portland race. I mean, we've seen Pelot there now go off the track and lap one, and then make his way back to win, and then you see him and he wins by 10 seconds this year, and it's just been one of those years for him. It's like what really can he do wrong? You know, there's not really a whole lot that Alex Pelot can do wrong, especially when all of a sudden you were getting sued by two different people, and now you're going to end up in still the best seat in the sport. So it's just kind of breaking his will.
Yeah, I mean there was a lot that he can be proud of. I mean, he is the champion. You know, he could have almost been champion, you know, with 2 races to go, but still goes into the last weekend with the championship, and that, you know, that's impressive. Lots of stats about how young he is and how he's a double champion already. But we got to congratulate him for sure. He deserves it. And I hope all the other stuff, you know, gets sorted out over the offseason. You know, all the suing and the lawsuitery, all that type of stuff. You know, definitely hope that he gets that sorted out. But you know, overall, I don't know how to judge the Portland race. I mean, I did watch most of it now. I've caught up on the highlights. You know, some people having tough weekends. You know, Joseph Newgarden right out the gate, you know, with the mistake at the start. You know, not normal for Joseph Newgarden. And I even saw some tweets, which, again, tough to look at some of these tweets sometimes. But like, oh, man, other than the ovals, Joseph Newgarden's been, you know, struggling. It's like, stop. Like, I'm going to stop you right there. Joseph Newgarden, Indy 500 champion. Joseph Newgarden, multiple-time IndyCar champion. Like, the guy has not forgot anything. You know, sometimes you just things don't go your way situationally. You know, he makes some of the decisions that he's made. You know, people are not perfect. Drivers are not perfect at all. Everyone is capable of making decisions that might not go the right way. Sometimes they might cash in on some great decisions as well. But yeah, the strategy was interesting. You had David Malukas, which he said he said on our show that they were going to struggle, and then he passes the most cars, takes advantage of a great strategy there after pitting at that first yellow, and made it happen with a great result. Rinus VeeKay, it took him the entire season, but now there is a higher result for that team now than my Indy 500 result. So good job to him. That was a very good drive. And poor Alex Rossi. Alex Rossi, man, I don't know if you saw that, Joey, but that's a brutal situation there again. I mean, is that that's blocking right there as well, and that's the danger of blocking. Block late, knock a wing off, potentially cause a bigger accident. Alex, because he's talented, probably avoided a bigger accident there going into one of the highest speed sections in IndyCar. Pretty crazy to see, but again, McLaren is super good at running second, third, fourth, and fifth. Like, they are really good at running second, third, fourth, fifth, or fourth, fifth, sixth. Like, never outside of the top 10, but always there. So that is fascinating. And like, at one point there were 4 orange cars in a row on the timing screen. It was the 9, the 5, the 6, and the 7, and you're like, oh man, like this is hilarious. So good for them for having another strong day. But when you get so used to finishing, you know, third, fourth, fifth, those guys, I'm sure, are hungry for more.
Yeah, third, fourth, fifth starts feeling like 13th, 14th, 15th when you haven't been able to take the checkered flag all year long, no doubt. What'd you think of the newcomer who slid into the 30 after you rode it a couple weeks or the weekend before? What'd you think of his debut, his performance there?
Yeah, Yuri Vips. I mean, nothing to write home about. I don't think yet. That's just kind of a real judgment. I would say when you look at a guy like, he made it through the race though, which is important. We saw Linus Lundqvist strong start, didn't finish the race though. And that's, obviously it doesn't matter for him. He was already, signed with Ganassi. He's now a hero. He's going to win races and be successful for forever now, I'm sure. But yeah, finished the race, did his job. Yeah, I mean, there weren't quite, like, if you're judging other one-time rookie performances, right? This year you got to put Linus up top for showing those glimpses of glory, a couple fastest laps of the race, a couple decent little stints in Nashville, and then finishing 12th, I think, in somewhere, another road course, Indy GP or some place like that. And then Yuri, 18th, I believe it was, kind of just there. Don't know, but if the team's happy with him, then whatever. It is what it is. But I'm obviously a little bitter in all situations because I would have loved to have driven that car too. So it's one of those things that I think he's a nice dude. There's a lot of interesting things around him, but kept it on the track, kept all the wheels going the right way, which is important. And that, as a rookie, you have to do that. You have to be reliable, and that car needs points too. So finishing, even though it was 18th, it's still in a position where they're scoring points ahead of Canapino, which they needed to beat for that top 22 position. And now there's a big question on, like, who's going to get that, who's going to be in that top 22. The championship's over, but there is $1.1 million on the line now between who's P21, P22, and P23 in the car owner points, which is going to be an interesting one. Old Tom Blomqvist has a lot on his plate.
That's a big, yeah. That's a big car, one. Yeah, for sure.
Right now, for those who don't know, the 60 car is just outside of the cut line of the 22, top 22 in points. They're basically going up against Devlin DeFrancesco. The 30 car as well is a little bit, has maybe a couple more points. And then Canapino is who they're fighting as well. So interesting battle within a battle.
So when we get to Laguna Seca, we see a whole lot of coverage on those cars and the updates in there. That's why we know, because that
I
is
hope they do,
what's
honestly.
going down, and there is money involved. No, I'm not saying I'm just letting people know. If we're wondering, like, what the hell's going on, that would be the reason.
I hope, for the sake of NBC and just for the sake of everyone, it's like, hey, you know what, guys? I'm sure there's a race going on here for the win, but $1 million is a lot of freaking money, especially to these race teams. So let's just focus in on it. Let's see where people are at. You know what I mean? I think that'd be important, but I'm not a producer, so I don't know.
No, I think you're right. I think that will definitely be in play. I think you will see a bunch of that. But, we're getting over 1.2, we're getting 1.3 million viewers, for those folks out there who are like, wait a second. Whoa. Just let you know. That's why you're going to see it, and as you should, because it's important.
Exactly.
You mentioned Blomqvist, and so we talked about Palou with the Chip saying he's not going anywhere. He's going to be in the 10 ride, and you have the news already that we knew about Blomqvist being in with Meyer Shank, and then now it's Rosenquist going over to Meyer Shank. So if you look at the landscape going into 2024 now, more and more pieces are starting to fall into place. However, you do have a Simon Pagenaud, you do have a Roman Grosjean, you do have a David Malukas, who are all out there right now that we don't know. There's been sayings of Malukas maybe to Arrow McLaren now. Things are starting to fall into place, but what's your feel on maybe those three drivers, or have you heard anything, or are you able to relay anything, Connor?
Well, honestly, I think there's a lot that goes on. I don't know what's going to happen yet, but obviously good to see Felix and the Shank team get all their stuff sorted out. That's going to be a great operation next year for sure. But when you look at the seats that are left, right, I think right now you've got a fourth Andretti car potentially on the table, right? They said there's a lot depending on whether or not they get in the leader circle. But we know Devlin's gone. We know that Grosjean probably not coming back. So, there's a car there. There is a car at McLaren, which I think everyone knows. I mean, I think we all see that Malukas is probably heading there, which is a absolutely massive opportunity for him. So we that one I would say is more off the table than a couple other seats. But you've got basically both coin cars are up in the air, right? So there's a whole team there. Stingray Robb, from what I've heard on the street, is walking around with quite a bit of funding behind him. So Stingray could be in play for multiple teams that, are, in need of that funding. ECR could be one of those teams. There could be, he could go to, he's had a relationship with Andretti, but I don't know if Andretti wants to go that way. Cause Stingray, honestly, Stingray has, when it comes to actual results and driving wise, sadly, the poor guy just gets a yikes overall because it's just been tough. But you know what? IndyCar is tough, and it'll spit you out if it's not the greatest situation. But the funding could keep him alive, and I heard his name mentioned that the Andretti seat, which would be a wild situation. And then you have a Foyt car, Santino, not sure what's going to go on there. I would say the Foyt situation is quite interesting now with the Penske relationship that they have. So I'm sure that might be a coveted seat. And obviously you've got, a seat at ECR that's going to be open or up for grabs. So there's a few different things that are going on, and it's I talk about it a little bit in my podium too with what's going on, but you've got some stuff moving around, and I think there is a couple things that are decided, right? Like, well, the Malukas thing is decided, right? Felix was announced this week. I think you'll see Malukas announced either before this race this weekend or next week. And then it's kind of up for grabs. Then I think you won't see anything for at least a few weeks. But very curious to see what Coin does. I think Coin is the biggest player right now because they have two cars that are wide open. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
What about old Connor Daly sliding in that Foyt ride with the teaming up with Penske, showing that speed at the Indy 500?
Well, obviously, I think the Penske relationship definitely does make it very, very entertaining, very, very interesting. I still have a good relationship with Larry Foyt, with the guys over there. Benjamin Peterson and his spotter coach Jonathan George has been working over there, and I've had a great relationship with those guys this year. They've been great to me. And Michael Cannon is obviously someone who believes in me, is willing to get behind me as well. So I don't know. It's still I would say everything is very much up in the air.
I'm trying to get you in trouble, but just had to get it out there.
No, it's something that's on the table, right? But I don't know what funding I have, right? Like that is something where I'm still obviously going to have to come with some sort of attractive bonus to just Connor Daly. We're continually working with everyone at BitNile.com. It was great to see them have their event. Obviously, BitNile.com Grand Prix at Portland. That was really cool for them. But they've definitely expressed their interest in continuing to support me, which is great. So I want to work with those guys because they obviously have given me a great opportunity in IndyCar. So we'll see. I still don't know as far as and one seat I forgot to mention though, of course, is the 30 car at Rahal. So the 30 car at Rahal is still also up in the air, and that one probably does have some funding behind it. So that would be the most coveted seat. I would say you have Andretti. They probably need funding. Not sure. Rahal, they might be able to just hire whoever they want. And then you've got Foyt and Coin. Coin is definitely going to need money. Dale's going to need some funding to help make that happen. But a lot of interesting stuff going on. A lot of interest is I still want to push Bobby Rahal about the 30. I would love to be in that car for next year as well. So But overall, I don't care where it is. I just want to be employed. I think for now, I would have loved to be able to say, hey, I'm going to try to go for the championship winning organization or the best team, available. But I don't have that option. I don't have the option to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to Ganassi with a bunch of money. Hey, I'm going to go to Andretti right now with a ton of funding. But I would love to try to figure out that funding and insert myself wherever I can insert myself.
You're telling me that Speed Street Pod and Dirty Mo Media partnership isn't enticing enough for them to say, come on at AJ Foyt Racing, get it on, slap it on there, slap the logo on the car, and let's roll.
Hey, anything's possible. Anything's possible. Can you believe we've had 7 months without an NFL game? Crazy, right? Well, good thing that's over. NFL is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving you a can't-miss offer for Week 1.
This week, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL game. DraftKings is hooking everyone up with game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day this September. Check the app to see what you get.
Download now and use code SPEEDSTREET to sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That's code SPEEDSTREET, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. We'll certainly see what happens. But should we hand out some milk and should we hand out a couple awards from the weekend to all of our fellow IndyCar competitors? Is that something we'd be interested in doing?
Yeah, let's do it. Why don't you fire us up here?
Yeah, for sure. Well, this is a great segment that I've enjoyed. Handing out some milk to some people per weekend, seeing who's got that dog in them. You know how it goes. But I'm handing my milk to Felix Rosenqvist, handing it off to Felix Rosenqvist. He is just now, announced his deal for the future, but leaving really on a high note, being, the only McLaren driver on the podium over the weekend. Great to see for him. I think he's done a powerful job this year, a respectable job overall. So Felix, great effort. Got a little lucky there with the yellow. Did get lucky with the yellow call. But I'd rather be lucky than good any day. So, keep going.
Yeah, no doubt. Big week for him. He like you said, I mean, it's just Felix has always been around it. Yeah, he's just been around. You like those safeties or those linebackers in football where it's like, hey, he's always around the ball. We don't really know, what his main attribute is, but he's just always around the ball, right place, right time, making plays. That's been Felix.
Playmaker.
Absolutely. So love that one. I'm going to go basic here just because it's not even really from this weekend. It's just this year as a whole for Alex Palou. I think he's got to get the milk, crown as a champion 2 out of 3 years. And not only has he won races, he's just absolutely dominated them. I mean,
absolutely.
And it's just, if it's not Scott Dixon on the fuel save, St. Louis winning by 22 seconds or whatever it is, it's just Alex Palou absolutely wheeling it and being a freak. So I think it's basic, it's easy. Yes, he did finish first and he was drinking the milk, but I think there's really no other option. Felix is a great one, but for me, I just 2 out of 3 champion and dominant fashion this year. Big old thing of milk to Alex Palou. And did I hear that he's having a daughter? He announced he's having a daughter?
I don't know. I didn't see any announcement, but I do believe that. I know his wife is pregnant, so I don't know. We'll see.
Well, big hats off. Yeah. I got a couple texts saying that they were pretty sure that he said that and a post race or something like that.
There you go.
Regardless, even more reason because there's going to be plenty of his life coming up here very soon. So,
yeah,
congrats.
Dad energy for Alex Palou. Yeah, he's got everything going for him, really. I mean, there's some lawsuits, but those might not be as fun, but he's got a lot going for him. So, who's got that dog in him? For me, David Maluka. So, yeah, friend of the show now. The guy qualified 24th. or back there somewhere. Difficult to activate the tires there in the way that they needed for overall pace, but they made it happen on the race. And Portland is a really interesting strategic race, and they made it happen. So great job to David Malukas. And if you haven't listened to that episode yet, please feel free to do it. YouTube, Apple, anywhere, Spotify, you can listen to it, watch it, whatever you want.
Yeah, I was very bummed to have to miss that one last week. I think David Malukas is a true gem in this sport. I think he's hilarious to follow on the internet, on Twitter. Very, very good meme game. I was bummed I didn't get to ask him about that. And a hell of a driver, too. So good call. Good call. My dog is going to go to your former teammate, Rinus VeeKay. Like you said, best finish besides your Indy 500 finish for ECR this weekend. And obviously much needed one for him, much needed one for ECR. He was just outside the top 12 to start the race, but still, hey, going up. Best finish of the season, finishing strong for him. So we'll give the dog to the 21 of Ed Carpenter Racing, Rinus VeeKay.
Yeah, I think he made a couple drivers mad on his way there, but we don't get paid to make everyone happy. We get paid to be extremely selfish. So that's what it is. My yikes.
That's right.
My yikes goes to it's a bit of a yikes weekend, really. Will Power. Friend of the show, Will Power. Tough early spin for Will Power. Just a difficult situation. Saw him off, I believe, in practice as well. Just tough. And as a driver too, if you spin like that and you're just a lap down the entire day, boy, is that the most frustrating drive of all time. So definitely sucked to see for Will Power, friend of the show. Hopefully I'm sure he will rebound extra strong in Laguna Seca.
Yeah, it would be very Will Power and Penske to have that result, and then all of a sudden just go out there and put it on the pole and then win it to finish the season for the 2022 champ. So my milk is going for kind of a year-long campaign, and my yikes is kind of going for a year-long campaign. And it's both with the first and the last. And I think that the yikes for me has to go to Romain Grosjean, not only for finishing last and being out in the first lap, like you said, of this race,
not
but
his
then
fault,
also just
but still tough.
Well, not his fault, but I think
tough.
it's just a summation. It's a summation of this year, and really how it's all gone for him since he's been in the 28 ride with DHL. It kind of feels like he was looking strong and put on pole for the first race of the season, and so everything was like up here, and then it just seemed like from that wreck with Scotty Mack, it has just all been a downwards tumble to the place that he is now, to where it feels like even though it isn't his fault, it's just like whatever can go wrong will go wrong and has gone wrong for Romain Grosjean with his time at Andretti, it feels like. And so now as we head into the last week of the season, and it's already seemingly made out like it's happening that he's not going to be back there, when there was so much promise and so much excitement and kind of hype around, hey, he did this with Dale Coyne, what is he going to do when he goes to Andretti? And it's just been a big old capital Y yikes for him and that whole 28 team, it seems. So sorry, Roman, I appreciate your advice and your tips on Paris and France, as I want to vacation there someday. Nothing personal, my man, but it's just been a tough go.
No, I mean it has been tough. I feel bad for him. A lot of those guys on that race team, I like a lot. Great people there. As engineer, crew chief, all those guys, the crew guys, great people. So just tough overall. This sport ain't easy. I promise you that. Doesn't matter who you are. It's a challenging one. So great segment there. I think we covered all of Portland as much as we could now. I think we've got we still want to get to our weekend podiums. I'm sure there's some interesting things that you might have from your weekend, Joey, considering you were in Las Vegas. And I have a few things that I would like to discuss that are also very not racing, but could be interesting that might end up on the podium. And I'm sure, Ben, if you have things that you need to tell us about as well, that's important. But before we get there, I want to cover real quickly because I did a race over the weekend, very interesting event, the Bristol 1000, which if you're not familiar with Cletus McFarland on YouTube, very entertaining human being, very American human being, 30 old Crown Vic police cars with rear spoilers and NOS equipped to them, roll cages, full race seats, and we were racing at Bristol, the NASCAR track, Bristol Motor Speedway. I had never been to Bristol Motor Speedway in my entire life. What an incredible place. Like, I would love to go there for a NASCAR event. Now, had a great time. 30 cars in this race. Never seen the place before. Haven't driven these cars in over a year and a half. A lot of folks there have, a lot of good drivers, a lot of good people who have worked on those cars for a long time. And we finished fifth in the race. Wore the old, had a little bit of overheating issues. Had a right front issue, but we had a solid top 5 day in the old Crown Vic. So really enjoyed the race. It was a great time overall. Saw some wild stuff, but got to experience Bristol. So if anyone got the pay-per-view to watch that and enjoyed it, thank you. There's a great crowd of people there too. Pretty hilarious to be a part of, but great to interact with a lot of really popular car YouTube channel folks and a lot of industry, not motorsport industry folks, but just the car world. The car world of YouTube was all around.
You're wild, man. You're driving new things, different locations. I mean, it's something to keep up with. That's for sure. I mean, I get it.
I sent this text to my girlfriend. I was like, well, I went from one weekend racing at one of the top levels of motorsport, the IndyCar series, at a very competitive, high speed, 190 mile an hour, almost 200 mile an hour short oval, finishing solid finish, racing, some of the best drivers in the world, to within 7 days, racing at Bristol in old police cars. So this is how my life goes. It is a never-ending circus, and I don't know how to feel about it, but I love driving, and I'll drive anything, clearly. But that's just how life goes sometimes.
No, it's very respectable because I get a damn rental car at the airport and I'm like, whoa. This is new. I got to find my rear views. I got to know all the buttons. Yeah, and you're out there just wheeling it. So, tip of the cap, no doubt, my man.
Let's get into the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. Please, I'm. You start us off. Third on yours, and let's roll.
Yeah, absolutely. I got some interesting ones here, but this one might be a basic one. But P3 on my list is strategery. Strategery in motor racing is still paramount. We saw the two fastest cars, which were, I believe, Graham Rahal, Scott McLaughlin, finish not even on the podium. So strategery is so powerful in IndyCar racing. It can go so well. It's very much like gambling. And it can go well, it can go bad. And for teams like, Graham and Christian Lundgaard, if, for example, as well, you get caught in the wrong situation, the wrong time, just tough, but could also be great for some people. So, strategery, motor racing strategists, they're on my podium for calling a great day, or accepting that, hey, that's sometimes it's a tough one.
That's life in motorsport, brother. You say it all the time.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. My third place is going to go, I talked about it at the top of the show. But I got to go with Alex Blow on Sports Center. I think that was a great thing. I was very excited and impressed by it. I honestly, I can't even remember, like, I didn't know if Joseph Newgarden got to go on Sports Center after he won the damn Indy 500. I mean, I think he did, but
Yeah.
It
was
wasn't
the 2 a.m.
that
segment.
obvious. Yeah, the 2 a.m. segment after the biggest race in the world. But, I mean, I was just super happy to see that and the amount of detail that was going into it. They spelled his name right and everything.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have Scar up there. It was IndyCar. It was great. It was super cool. So I got to give that number 3.
All right, Ben, what do we got?
I'm going to go non-racing related for number 3 for me. Jimmy Buffett music. He unfortunately passed away.
Yes.
Leaving obviously, huge legacy of just feel good music. And, we celebrated Labor Day weekend on Monday. At least my crew did, and floated on the water, listened to some Jimmy Buffett, good vibes, good times. So felt like we appropriately celebrated his life.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Man, Jimmy Buffett, I want to say Jimmy Buffett was Jimmy Buffett was not my first concert, but I have seen Jimmy Buffett perform. So R.I.P. Jimmy. Seemed like a lot of people with a lot of respect for Jimmy Buffett. So yeah, there you go. P2 on my list, and Joey, I think you'll find this funny. P2 on my list, this over the last couple days, there's obviously football season is here. Fantasy football season is here too. P2 on my list is hating everyone in your fantasy football league. Fantasy football hatred is running rampant in my fantasy football league that I am a part of, that I have now been a part of since I think like sophomore year of high school. So this is an over a 15-year stretch of the league, and like it is. Some of there's a group text that I have silenced because there's about 800 texts that get sent to this between the 12 or 14 folks that are in this league. And I tell you what, people are going for each other's throats in my fantasy football group chat already. There've been people leaving the chat, coming back into the chat. There's been all kinds of stuff going on. So just glad that that fantasy football passion is back because we're ready to get after it. I am the defending champion of this league as well, by the way, so no big deal. Nice. I am now part of the Champions Club. It does feel really good to be a part of that. So that's why I hope everyone comes back to play, because I feel like I need to defend my title. So the hatred of your friends in your fantasy football leagues, you know what? It's all back.
Yeah, that's a great call. It is a great feeling to have it all. I mean, by the time everybody's listening to this, probably, NFL Thursday night kickoff is coming. We got the whole slate this weekend. College football, obviously, we added it last weekend, but this weekend, I mean, it's fully on. It is fully on. And yeah, it's a good point, Connor. Like, I think the majority of fantasy football group chats got like leaked, there would be so many people in jail, or just like it would be a problem for so many people.
Like jail at minimum
because of what goes on in there.
Yeah.
It's a cesspool. It's an absolute cesspool, but that's what makes it great. All right, my number 2 is also a football one, and I got to give a second place to really the whole Sanders family. Dion, Noor, Shiloh. I mean, well, I'm sitting there at Circa Pool, the stadium swim in Vegas, and they got Colorado TCU up on the big
Great
screen.
Place. And
I mean, Shedeur is just absolutely shitting on TCU. 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. Dion's just looking just cool as hell on the sideline, coaching them up like to a dominant. I mean, not dominant win, but like people thought Colorado was still going to suck this year, and then they go in and beat a ranked team like that in their house in the first week. Who knows what happens the rest of the season? But that couldn't go unnoticed, I don't think.
I had Colorado plus 20.5. No big deal. I had Colorado plus 20.5. So felt good about that one. I believe the hype.
There we go. Yep, for sure. So shout out Prime Time.
Yeah, Travis Hunter too looked awesome.
Playing
DB and receiver. I mean, he lit up on both sides of the ball, which was super cool. I haven't really seen that a lot lately.
For sure.
Speaking of college football, my number 2 is both of my teams going undefeated past week 1. We got Minnesota beat Nebraska, Charlotte beat South Carolina State. So we're riding the undefeated train already.
That Nebraska game was tough to watch.
It's Big Ten
the
football.
Classic Big Ten West football, baby.
Yeah, come on. Good teams win,
and
great teams cover. And I had Nebraska +7, so we'll take it.
Take that. Cash in on that rule. I love that. And I think Nebraska's playing Colorado next week, if I remember right. So,
yeah.
That'll be
I'm
good,
taking Colorado
good
in that
$1,000,000%. Yeah, so football is back.
Football is back. All right, well, getting to my number 1, my winner from the weekend. Huh? No, P1 for the weekend.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. I would say something that is fascinating, and my P1 is IndyCar teams with the strength to hire and the silly season. I think right now we're going to have so many people in different cars next year. I think as a fan base, because this is a podcast that obviously I'm a driver and I would like to be a part of the series, but I'm a fan first. And the drivers that are going out and being hired to drive, it is, as someone who has been in the sport a long time and been in the sport at a weaker time, where there were, I would say, more drivers than you would have expected, bringing quite a handsome amount of money to the situation. But you've got teams now going up and getting their guys. Ganassi going to get Linus. You've got Shank going to boom. We're going to get Felix. We want him and we want Tom. Boom. Those are 2 hired guys, 2 hired guns. We want, it's like, and now it's not really public information, but drivers are getting paid more. Like, not me, but drivers are getting paid. Like the bigger names, the guys who are getting hired, they're getting paid appropriately, which I think is just good for the sport in general. It means that there is more revenue coming in. It means that there's more interest in our sport. It means that everyone listening to this show, we appreciate you. The teams do, the drivers do, because as this sport grows and as we try to help it grow, it just means that we're all having a better time. So enjoying the fact that there are teams that when you show up to the front door, you actually think that, hey, they've put together great programs where they've got sponsorship behind them and they're ready to go get their guys or girls or whoever they want to have in there. So cool to see that. And I think the silly season and the amount of different situations we'll see next year just kind of gives a lot of life to the sport. And so that's what I think is very positive.
Absolutely, man. Well said. I mean, I hate to parallel it all the time with these other sports and leagues that we watch, but, what has made the NFL continue to grow into such crazy heights is that year-round, free agency, the draft, all these things that get people excited. NBA, people get more excited for NBA free agency than they do the damn games.
Yeah.
So that stuff matters. That absolutely matters.
It's important.
The silly season, the drama, the rumors, all of it is very important, especially for the casual fan. So very well said there. Absolutely.
Because, and as well as these seats, but as these seats go too, like that means we're going to have news that's IndyCar related all the way into the off season. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be seats that are going to be, signed at different points, and you're going to have news. You're going to have great stuff that happens for our series. So it's all positive.
No doubt. I got to take a hard left here on my P1. My P1 goes out to the Marquee Club at Cosmo in Vegas.
All right. Cosmo are good people.
Yeah. It was so one of the guys on the bachelor party, he was staying at the Cosmo and he had this sick suite that had a whole view of the strip. So we were up there on Saturday night and then we went down to the Marquee Club and it was just a blast. Like I thought of you, Connor, because I was like, Connor would be proud of me because like that was my first ever like actual nightclub experience. Like I've been to bars and I've been to like places that kind of have some like dance music, but that was like a night club, like We're on the couches.
There you go.
The confetti, the smoke is going when the beat drops. Like, it was insane. And it was so much fun. And I'm glad I got out of my system because, I'm 30 and I'm a dad, right? But, one marquee club-ish, every now and then does the soul good. And it was a blast.
I love that. Hey, good for you. Doing Vegas right. That's a respectable effort. You got to do it at least once a year, maybe. I don't know.
Yes. Would love to. My wife's sitting in the other room. She'd probably disagree.
Shaking her head. Yeah.
Yeah. So my P1, thanks for a great time, Marquee Club.
Joey, I think I might have gone to that one when I was there. It was like, long story short, I ran into like a childhood neighbor and he's like, hey, we're going here. Like, we have a booth and all that. I was like, okay. So is that on like the chandelier, like how by the chandelier bar?
That is the Cosmo, yes. The Marquee
Yeah,
is
I
there.
meant
Yeah.
the club.
Yep.
Yeah, so we stayed at the Cosmos when we went. So I think I was there too. That was, we had the whole booth and the confetti was crazy. Yeah.
Felt like I won the damn Super Bowl, man.
Literally. Lights everywhere.
Every song.
Yeah. So that's fun. No, I'm
cool.
glad you got to that. That's cool. My number one for me, going off my number 3 of being on the water is aloe vera because I'm sunburned from neck down, basically. So thank you, aloe vera, for being invented and doing your thing. So we're on the mend, but we're doing better.
That's Labor Day weekend, brother.
Yeah. Producer Ben, that might be a top 4 moment of this show for you right there. That was a good one.
Thank you.
I don't know why I found
appreciate
that really funny, but we're handing a P1 trophy to lotion, essentially. So that's good.
Yes.
Soothing skin lotion is what it's all about. So quick willpower birds to give out here as well. Obviously, sometimes we like to give some willpower loves flipping birds to people. You know what I mean? Birds are going to Spectrum. The Spectrum television service. Can't watch ESPN. Couldn't watch F1 over the weekend. Can't watch. I start every morning watching Sports Center and Get Up. Nope, not anymore. Can't even watch FX. Anything owned by Disney is completely off limits now because apparently Disney and Spectrum can't get along. So please, Disney and Spectrum, figure it out. Because goodness gracious, like I was trying to watch F1. I finally had a Friday and a Saturday where I wasn't doing a ton. I wanted to watch some F1. Nope. So birds are going to Spectrum. So that's a darn shame.
Hear that? I saw that people tweet about it. That's really, really unfortunate for football season.
I know.
They always wait for that too. They really drive in the stake. They can't do that like July 6th, right? Like they have to do it the first weekend of football.
Wasn't it like right before kickoff for like one of the first games? Yeah, it was literally you watch the pregame and then right when you went to kick off, like the screen just went black and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's so unfortunate.
It was not awesome. So that was a tough one. That was a tough one.
I have a willpower double bird. Actually, now that I just thought about it. Willpower double bird to the Las Vegas airport restaurant scene.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
Horrible. Dude, so we checked out of our Airbnb at 11. Our flight wasn't until 3, so we just went to the airport thinking that like, oh yeah, we could maybe like catch like a Chili's or like an Applebee's or like a, I don't know, like a B-Dubs in the airport like a lot of places had. They had nothing. No sit-down restaurants. All I had was a Shake Shack. Like, it was horrible. I was very, very disappointed. And it was at the time when you needed it the most. And there was just nowhere to turn to. So, big willpower double birds to that place.
Trust me, I've been in that Vegas airport several times in several different situations. And I know what you're saying. Yeah, we have a great show so far. We have a race coming up this weekend, obviously the final race of the season. I will be going out there myself. I am bringing a race suit just in case. And it will be good to be out there just hanging out with everyone, talking about the off season, talking about the silly season, seeing what's going on next. Where am I going to be an IndyCar driver next year? That would be the goal. And I hope all of you watch as well. Hope everyone tunes in on Sunday. Going to be a great race. Please, if you enjoy this, please leave us a rating, give us a like, Do whatever that is. Tell a friend. Go to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. There has seemed to be some great response to the YouTube episodes so far. So we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Again, my girlfriend is not quite at 1 million subscribers, so we're still in a race to get there. I would like to get to 1,000 before she gets to 1 million, but apparently she's also YouTube's Creator of the Week this week, so that might help her. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm trying to get to 1,000. So let's keep on trucking. Now we can get to the random Indy 500 driver of the week as well. What do you think, Joey?
Very strong here.
All right.
Show us what we got.
This episode, we went with the year of 1948. 1948 Indy 500 went way back. Won by Maury Rose. Yep. We have the 11th place finisher, Charlie Van Acker. Charlie Van Acker, he was sponsored by the city of South Bend, looks like. Sponsored by the city of South Bend. That was his car name entrant. Charles Van Acker in Wikipedia. So Charlie or Charles, whatever you think. Belgian-American race car driver. First attempted to qualify for the Indy 500 in 1946, but was too slow. 1947, made the race, finished 29th after a crash. Competed in 7 more races of the National Trail, which I don't know what that means. Sounds like the Oregon Trail, but for motorsport. And finished 4th in points. So 1948 was, in fact, his best finish in the Indy 500, it looks like, finishing 11th. So 3 Indy 500s total for Charles Van Acker. Did not know Charles. Did not know that name.
I'm a visual guy, as you probably have been able to tell, so I would have loved to call this guy CVA. That rolls real well. Old CVA, Charlie Van Acker.
Old Charlie.
South Bend guy. All right. He died. He owned and operated the South Bend Motor Speedway in South Bend, and after a dirt track crash, he passed away. Man, so he would have been out there racing when he was 86 years old?
No, did you see this? Did you see the last sentence there? He owned and operated the South Bend Motor Speedway in South Bend, Indiana, and once after a dirt track crash in Dayton, Ohio, was declared dead. However, Van Acker claims that the reports were exaggerated and that he was not that seriously injured. So wait a second. They said this guy died, and then he's like, nah, I'm not dead? Is this the first resurrection in Indy 500, Random Indy 500 Driver of the Week segment?
I was going to say... If there was a resurrection, we'd find it in the Random Indy 500 Driver of the Week. That's for sure.
Well, Charlie Van Acker, dead but not. Wow, what a story! Like that is what a last sentence of a Wikipedia. That is wild.
I love, I love how it says. It doesn't say Van Acker claims that the reports are exaggerated and that he was not dead. It says that it claims that they were exaggerated and he was not that seriously injured.
Yeah.
It's like you would think he'd be like, hey, no, guys.
Not dead.
I'm a little banged up.
Man, just can't believe any of the news out there, apparently. I don't know.
Fake news. Well, thanks for hanging in with me on my crappy internet day here, Connor and Ben. Glad to be back. Thanks for holding it down for me last week when I had just a full-ass day, some other shit that I got to announce here coming up soon. So appreciate that very much.
Exciting
appreciate all
show
you listening.
next week,
I'm
too.
fairly sure I had... Yes.
Exciting show next week.
Wait.
Yeah. Exciting show next week, no matter what, but a potential for a great guest. Very exciting.
Especially with, like we talked about, all this football season that's here. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So, but yeah, I'm fairly sure. I'm trying to remember through the haze at Stadium Swim. I think a couple guys came up to me and were like, Speed Street. I don't know. I can't.
Really?
I'm pretty sure, but I might have. Anyways. So yeah, no, glad to be back. Thanks again. Let's finish out the last week of the IndyCar season 2023. Strong. Everybody enjoy it. Everybody drink it in, soak it in, because then we're on the wait. We're on the wait with just nothing but off season, silly season news, if you will, until we get around to next early spring, late winter. So take it in, enjoy it. And as always, we will be back next week on Speed Street.
Hey everyone, Connor Daly here. Please leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it, and also subscribe to the channel as well. That would be very helpful. Be a friend, tell a friend. Thank you so much for the support, and we'll see you on the next episode of Speed Street.